the perfect no Haaland draft to start the FPL season with. I've been tinkering since building my first draft with you guys last week, and by taking Haaland out, the team I'm going to show you now has improved its AI team rating by 5%. You can get your own free AI team rating by using the link in the description below. That will take you to Fantasy Football Hub, and you can take a screenshot from the Premier League website or app, put it straight into there to get your instant team rating. So let me know in the comments if you can beat my 91% rating. I will be answering all comments on this video. Let's get into it. The big question then is why no Haaland? And I've been using Fantasy Football Hub's points predictions to see how the utility will land with captaincy in the opening 3 weeks of the season. And this is really interesting because in game week 1, Salah has the captain advantage. Ipswich away, 7.4 predicted points v Haaland's 7.1. And then in game week 3, Salah beats Haaland again, 7.1 points for Manchester United away to Haaland's 6.9 points for West Ham away. Now, Haaland does arguably have the best fixture in game week 2. Ipswich at home, 8.4 predicted points. But Salah isn't too far behind, 7.8 predicted points. In fact, across the opening 3 game weeks, Haaland is only predicted to outscore Salah by 0.2 points, but he is 2.5 million more expensive. So I had to put a draft together that has Salah over Haaland as the single premium in there to see what you get for your money if you spread those funds from Haaland around. Now, I think personally for me, a no Haaland draft has to include Salah because captaincy is such an important part of the game, and you need to make sure that you're well covered with a great pick over these opening few weeks of the season. And Salah is another player that's going to benefit from the change in the bonus point system this season. He was top among midfielders for shots on target last season with 56. He was also top for big chances with 33 and top among midfielders for XG with 20.89. I'm still going to be looking very closely at Salah in pre-season under Arne Slot. Is he playing number 9? Is he playing off the right? Is he still on penalties? Is this team going to be as potent from an attacking perspective as they were under Klopp? They're all key questions that I need answering. But looking at these numbers and the fine margins between these two players at the moment, I feel like it could potentially be viable to go no Haaland and cover the captaincy with Salah. Now, I also need to think about the fact that if I'm not going Haaland, I still want a slice of that Manchester City attack. So I feel like it's only viable if you go with Foden as well in the midfield, another player that's going to benefit from the change to the bonus point system, those new rule changes. He was 3rd for shots on target last season with 48. 60 fouls won is something that's going to benefit him as well, and 73 key passes just goes to show you how his routes to points is multiple. It's not just goals, it's assists as well. So I certainly think there's potential to look at the no Haaland route. What's changed in the defence since building my first draft with you last week? Well, Onana remains between the sticks. I have locked in my backup goalkeeper and my 5th defender. Fabianski feels like a player who could viably get some minutes for West Ham this season, even as an understudy. And Harwood Bellis looks to be the best of the 4 million defender options from the promoted teams. Hopefully I shouldn't need him too much from second position on my bench. Now, sticking with the theme of trying to bring in Manchester City players to cover the absence of Haaland, Vardiol in my defence is a new addition. He comes in for Pedro Porro. Some great numbers from him last season. He was top for shots on target among defenders with 14, and he was particularly potent in the final 9 game weeks of last season following the final international break, where he was the highest scoring defender in the game with 79 FPL points and top for bonus points in that period with 11. So to know that he's a bonus points magnet and now the bonus point system has changed to suit him even more, he feels like a player that you ought to have in there. Now, obviously he's 0.5 more expensive than Porro. So I've had to save some money somewhere, and I've looked to downgrade my Arsenal defender from Ben White, who's 6.5 million, to Gabriel, who's just 6 million. Still keeping a slice of that Arsenal defence that kept 18 clean sheets last season. Gabriel has got good goal threat himself, 11 shots on target last season. He was actually second among defenders for big chances with 7 as well. So hopefully that 0.5, I can get away with making those savings there. I'm sticking with the Crystal Palace Everton defender rotation that I shared in my first draft, but I've managed to save $1 million here as well to use funds elsewhere to get a better balance across all of my sides. So looking at Everton, I've gone from Tarkowski to Mykolenko, saved 0.5 million. And at Palace, I've gone from Mitchell to Anderson and saved another 0.5 million. But keeping on that cheaper rotation where we're going to get defensive games against Brighton at home, West Ham at home, Bournemouth at home, Leicester at home, Leicester away, before the two sides face each other in game week 6. I feel a lot more comfortable with my first bench option being a 4.5 million defender rather than a 5 million defender and using those funds elsewhere. Moving into the attack, and while I've been tinkering with my side over the last few days, I feel like I'm being pulled more towards the midfielders than the forwards. So I am switching things up to be a 3-5-2 formation at the moment, and I have put the Ipswich striker Ladepo as my third sub, the 4.5 million forward. He looks the best of a bad bunch at the moment. Maybe someone comes to the fore in pre-season. It's just something to keep an eye on. He is just a placeholder for now, but given the fact that I've got a decent first sub and second sub from defence, it shouldn't matter too much anyway. As I mentioned then, to cover no Haaland, Mo Salah and Phil Foden are both in the midfield, and there are some familiar people that keep their places in this midfield as well, because I'm still looking at Mbeumo. I think he could be a great option for this season. I still really like the look of Gibbs White as well, and Odegaard's going to be my Arsenal attacker. The player that dropped out here is James Maddison, but I think having Salah and Foden in at the expense of Haaland is a pretty good compromise here. Into the forward line, I think before I was looking at a front three of Haaland, Isak and Solanke. Having that little bit of funds from moving Haaland off though, obviously Isak is going to keep his spot. He looks like a great option, but I have managed to squeeze enough funds to get Watkins in my front line as well, which I'm pretty excited about. Obviously, I still need to see him in pre-season training, which we may not see for another week, given that he was on international duty for England. But he didn't play many minutes, less than 90 minutes in fact. But his consistency last season was incredible. He was top for assists with 18, top for goal involvements with 37, and the top scoring forward in the game on 228 points. A few changes at Aston Villa that could positively or negatively impact him. We'll have to see how it goes in pre-season, but the potential there for Watkins is huge, and it feels better to have him in my side than Solanke. So I feel like I've got quite a strong draft here. The big caveat for that though is of course no Haaland. Get your free AI team rating from Fantasy Football Hub using the link in the description to this video, and let me know in the comments whether you can beat my 91% team rating. I am answering all comments on this video. Let's smash 500 likes as well, and subscribe to the channel. I'm on the road to 35k. Thank you for watching.